Welcome everyone. I'm Tejashree Morje, TJ, and my topic is definitions and conceptions of harmful interference. This topic being a very broad topic, I've tried to narrow it down to the issues that we are focused on, the spectrum issues, and how FCC deals with it. So let's see how the FCC defines harmful interference. This definition that FCC follows is actually adopted from ITU's definition of harmful interference. It says harmful interference is which endangers the functioning of a radio navigation service or of other safety services or seriously degrades, obstructs, or repeatedly interrupts a radio communication service operating in accordance with this radio regulation. Now the words in bold are the ones which are not very clear. They can be interpreted in various different ways to have different implementations. Mm, Other safety services. What constitutes other safety services? Nowadays, any service might claim to be safety service. So you make a 911 call from your cellular phone. Even that service, the cellular service, can act as safety service. And why give special treatment to radio navigation services? These are the objections that can be raised. And other issue is what constitutes repeatedly. How many times? Once, twice, thrice constitutes repeatedly. So this is the reason why there is uncertainty about this definition, and this has resulted in various conflicts between mm, the incumbents and the newcomers, which the FCC had to solve. So the even the FCC has implemented this definition differently for different services. Say for radio navigation and other safety services, it has provided a high level of a high level of protection than other licensed spectrum services. So this step we need to do away with this definition, which is kind of old and made when the tropospheric uh, propagation was the only method used for propagation, and concepts like rain fading multipath didn't even exist. So this definition needs a modification to go with the current technologies and encourage innovation. So what are the issues with this definition? As we saw in the previous slide, uh, how various objections could be raised. So we can say that the definition is weak and hence requires FCC intervention in various spectrum related issues. Examples being North Point, UWB, and AWS3. As we saw, this definition is also old. It was formed when the upper limit of frequency was quite lower and does not take into account the marginal interference resulting from such technology. And hence, we can ask the question: does this definition accommodate new technologies? I would say no. Does this definition fit well with current locations of shared users, primary, secondary, and tertiary, who are expected to tolerate some level of interference? No. So we need a definition um, which is more focused towards encouraging innovation and accommodate new technologies. As the spectrum is already crowded, it cannot be expected that the new technologies that come in would result in no interference at all. They would definitely be required to share the spectrum with some other users, and hence would result in some level of acceptable or um, reasonable level of interference. So this is my thesis, and I would like to say that the FCC's definition of harmful interference has flaws, and that is why it results in many inconsistencies in its implementations and is bound to hinder new technologies that demand use of spectrum while causing an acceptable level of interference. I would like to suggest a new and less extreme definition for harmful interference that would account for a wide range of interference scenarios. So that is going to be my prime focus. So this is what my paper is going to about. I would first analyze the flaws in FCC's definition and and see how it has been differently been conceived by incumbents and new entrants. The incumbents would always try to prove that the interference caused by the new entrants is harmful interference because they would like to protect their own technologies, claiming that the new technologies is going to ultimately cause harmful interference, while on the other hand, new entrants would try to prove how useful their technology is going to be for the public. So I would also focus on the controversies that has resulted from such different interpretations. Then next I would like to incorporate the views of a European regulator to offer new insights because it would be somebody from outside US, from somebody from outside FCC, somebody's view about how ITU and hence we can say FCC can follow the definition of harmful interference. So while redefining the harmful interference, we can take into account the technical definition of harmful interference so that it can consistently define harmful interference through different technologies. And this, and finally, I would like to make suggestions to modify the FCC's definition. So this is how the modified definition would look like. And not only a change in definition is needed, but also the implementation and application of such definition because we don't want to lose the advantage of analyzing um, each situation on a per case basis. So we would like to first implement the definition on a per case basis and set standards for others to follow that particular interpretation. That's all for my presentation, and here are the references that I followed. I would be glad to receive your feedback and inputs so that I can make my paper better. Thank you.